बल्कि हैप्पीनेस क्लास का मतलब है कि हम उन्हें बच्चों को जो काम करें वो अपने अंतर मन की खुशी से करें, अपने इनर हैप्पीनेस से करें। जो काम करें ध्यान से करें, सोच के करें, समझ के करें और किसी भी काम को बर्डन के तौर पे ना लें।
जैसे पहले बच्चे ना लाइक खुद की थिंकिंग को कुछ नहीं कर पाते थे। अब जैसे मेडिटेशन का है, पहले वो सोचते हैं, जैसे पीरियड के अकॉर्डिंगली मेडिटेशन करवाते हैं कि खुद को, जैसे ए फॉर एप्पल नहीं, ए फॉर कुछ और भी हो सकता है, ए फॉर एरोप्लेन हो सकता है।
इससे मैम बच्चे में काफ़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट आया है। जैसे पहले कुछ होता था कि बच्चे को स्कूल जैसा लगता था, लेकिन अभी बच्चे को थोड़ा लगता है कि स्कूल एक कंफर्टेबल उसमें, और उससे मतलब उसका इनर भी काफ़ी मोटिवेशन मिला है उसे।
बहुत अच्छा हुआ है, तब से शुरुआत से काफ़ी अच्छा हो गया है, बदलाव आ गया काफ़ी। स्कूल में जैसा हमने एडमिशन कराया था पहले तो ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था, मतलब अब जैसे केंद्रीय सरकार मतलब केजरीवाल जी ने बनाया है, जब से जो मनीष सिसोदिया जी हैं, बहुत अच्छा ग्रोथ कर दिया, बहुत अच्छा स्कूल बन गया जी। अब तो हमें कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं आती, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
मैंने भी इसी स्कूल में पढ़ाया है, तो मुझे पता है कि उस टाइम में और अभी में काफ़ी अंतर आ गया है। तो बिल्डिंग भी काफ़ी अच्छी है और टीचर्स भी अब काफ़ी वो करते हैं।
1 2 3 हैप्पीनेस क्लास में एक नई एक्टिविटी करेंगे, ठीक है? उसका नाम है नाम और इशारा।
Joining us now is somebody who's been instrumental in bringing in reforms in the education sector in Delhi. So be it about the parent-teacher interaction, be it about the infrastructure in government schools. First of all, thanks very much for joining us on India Ahead today. Now, beginning with the happiness class first, we recently visited one of the government schools, and obviously to give due credit for the kind of infrastructure that we saw was something that we'd never seen in government schools. But coming back to the happiness curriculum, what really was the idea behind starting such a class around this? We know that the Dalai Lama, along with the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Deputy CM, they launched this initiative in July this year.
So I think from the very beginning, when we started working on education, we were very clear about the fact that education is not just about grades or students doing well in exams or just having a good career. But I think that the state of disrepair that Delhi government schools were in 3.5 years ago, it was difficult to think beyond many of the basics. And so I think we spent some of our first few years sorting out infrastructure, improving accountability, improving basic academic standards.
Right.
But once those basic foundation stones were in place, we have felt all along that at the core of education is really the kind of human being that is coming out of the schooling system.
Right.
And that is why something like the happiness curriculum has been started, so that students can have a deeper reflection about their worldview, about their thoughts, about their actions, about their values. And hopefully with something like the happiness curriculum, we would have better human beings and better citizens coming out of our schools.
Absolutely. Now, this is something that has never been taken up before, by even the previous governments, or even, currently it's not present anywhere. And this is something that's a very novel idea. So how did the parents, in fact, and even the teachers react to this idea when it got first introduced?
Interestingly, the reaction has been far more positive than even we had anticipated. It's just been a few weeks now that the happiness curriculum has been started. But from the very moment we started talking about it, all the teachers felt, yes, this is extremely important. And especially in the context of government schools, where children are often coming from backgrounds of adversity. Financially weak backgrounds, single parent homes, having seen domestic violence and abuse. And for children coming from these circumstances, education requires a base of socio-emotional development. And I think that is the reason why all teachers felt that it's extremely important.
You made a very pertinent point about the overall development, the socio-emotional development of kids who are coming from families that may not look like regular normal families. But, now moving on to the reforms that you've brought in, obviously we saw earlier this year, the central government deciding that you will not be part of, you'll not be the education advisor to the Aam Aadmi Party government. Did that come as a surprise? And of course, the entire social media was up in the arms against the central government. So did that come as a surprise to you?
Well, it did definitely come as a surprise, in the sense that it seems a very unfortunate and petty thing to do. Given the fact that for the past 3 years, the Delhi government has been working on improving the lives or touching the lives of 16 lakh students who study in Delhi government schools. It's not about me or my position as an advisor. It's about the fact that the central government would choose to attack education reforms and education reforms for some of the poorest children who are in our city and in our society. And I think that is unfortunate.
And that's quite ironic because this government talks about the fact that it talks about development, it talks about the power of the youth. But, what is your perspective on, for example, when you visited the government schools, that was just before the Aam Aadmi Party came to power in 2015. What did they look like then, and what's been the change? I want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
I think that I've lived in Delhi all of my life, but the kind of class divide that exists in our country, in our city, is so immense that I had never been inside a government school till we actually came into power in Delhi. And I think I was horrified, to say the least. When you used to enter a government school, you would smell the toilet of the school from the time you entered the gate. Windows used to be broken, lights used to be broken, fans used to be broken, children would often be sitting on the floor. Teachers would often be out of class, children would be out of class. And I think the entire buildings would look as if they hadn't been whitewashed for a decade.
Absolutely.
So I think that the message was very clear that these are not institutions that anyone takes seriously. The government does not take them seriously. The administration does not take them seriously. And so children also felt that they are second-class citizens and they are not going to make it anywhere in the world. And you yourself have visited some of our government schools now. And I think that the transformation in infrastructure, in maintenance, in the overall cleanliness of schools has really changed the sense of self-worth of the students who study there.
Absolutely.
And I think for the first time they've begun to feel that hum bhi kuch hain. And we deserve something and we are going to make it somewhere in the world. And I think that the impact of this is immense and I think we cannot underestimate it.
You know, we can talk about a lot of logistical challenges when you bring about that kind of a change, which is, there's been a complete sky and earth kind of a difference, as far as Delhi government schools are concerned. But if we talk about challenges, how difficult was it to sort of train teachers? Because, although they are much more qualified than private school teachers, but then, there used to be this general laxity on the part of all the teachers there.
No, I think so, which is why I said, first of all, I think that the fault did not lie entirely with the teachers. You have an entire system that does not take the education in government schools seriously. If you cannot keep a toilet clean in a government school, I think the government is giving a very clear message that we don't care about these institutions. So I think what really started changing the culture of the institutions was the fact that the government was beginning to care. The fact that the minister himself on a regular basis visited schools, sometimes at 7 o'clock in the morning, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, at 6 o'clock in the evening. So the fact that the government cared, the fact that the government was willing to allocate money for its schools, the fact that education became the priority agenda. And every issue regarding education, be it infrastructure, be it accountability, be it whether schools were clean, be it the chairs that teachers sat on in their teacher training workshop, everything was taken into consideration. And I think that this is what gradually led to a change in culture. And see, it's the same teachers. We haven't brought in new teachers. The teachers were qualified in the first place. But I think once the atmosphere of the institution began to change, these teachers got an opportunity to flower.
Right. And, you mentioned very briefly about the budget. Now, the budget is currently, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's about 14,000 crores. So how's that getting prioritized?
So the budget, first of all, as I said, even amongst the larger budget, education is the biggest priority, with 25% of the budget going into education. Between this 25%, I think a large chunk of it actually goes into infrastructure, because that is one of our biggest spends. In the first 2 years, we have built 8,000 new classrooms. We have built 21 new schools, because there was also a serious shortage of infrastructure, especially in East and Northeast Delhi. You had classrooms where you had 150 students who were sitting in one class. And so in the first phase, we have built 8,000 classrooms. We are in the process of building 12,000 more classrooms and 35 new schools as well. Our intention is that in this 5-year tenure, we want to build enough infrastructure in Delhi for the next 2 decades.
While the result of the government schools this year, particularly the pass percentage, was around 70% for class 10 students. For class 12 students, it was even better, right? But even when during the admissions to DU were going on, I had the opportunity to actually interact with some of the underprivileged students from underprivileged backgrounds, and what they had to say was that while the pass percentage has increased, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll get admissions into the top-notch colleges. So how does your government plan to deal with that?
See, I think what we need to understand is that these government schools have been in a state of neglect for decades. and rebuilding them is something that requires time. I think that within 3.5 years that there's been a remarkable turnaround. And I think that the fact that the pass percentage has increased is an indicator of the fact that things are on an upswing. And similarly, in terms of actually improving the quality of subject-wise teaching, in terms of actually giving students greater amount of practice, those are things that we are gradually getting into place. Second, we also need to understand that children in government schools are coming from far more difficult backgrounds than students in private schools. These are children who are often first-generation learners. These are children in schools whose parents can't afford any extra help. These are children whose parents probably don't even know how to read and write.
Yeah, they're the first generation.
Exactly.
learners.
Think of the amount of support that people like us give our children when they're in school, when they're sitting for class 10 and 12 board exams. So the fact that these children are able to compete on an equal footing is in itself quite substantial. And I think that there is still a long way to go, but I'm confident that we'll get there.
But what is going to be the priority for the government as far as education is concerned? You've improved upon the infrastructure, the morale of teachers has gotten an uplift. So what is that one thing or top 3 things that you're going to be looking at now?
See, first of all, the happiness curriculum is one of our major initiatives. I think that that is a step in terms of rethinking fundamentally about how we look at education and the purpose of education. That is number 1. Number 2, I think we need to move from our current forms of teaching and assessment to more innovative forms of teaching and assessment. Right now, I think we have just been struggling to get teaching at par with private schools and ensuring that the basic things are in place. I think now the second thing is to actually make it more creative and innovative. And number 3, I think greater focus on specific subject areas. In terms of training of teachers, a lot of our training so far has been focused on maybe training methodologies, on building relationship between students and teachers. So I think focusing more deeply on subject areas for different teachers, I think that would be a third area of focus.
That's great. But let me also ask you the fact that, just a couple of days back, there was a report, in response to the RTI that was filed about around 600 schools not having principals, 600 government schools not having principals.
So there's 2 things. First of all, when we say does not have a principal, it does not mean it does not have a head of school.
Right.
In many cases, you have 2 vice principals and one of them has been allocated the responsibility of the head of school. Unfortunately, in Delhi, we live in a situation of a great governance mess, which we have been fighting in the High Court, the Supreme Court, the Constitution Bench. But as per the decision of the High Court from September of 2016, services or the recruitment of officers does not come under the elected government of Delhi. And therefore, recruitment of principals, vice principals, etc. right now comes under the domain of the LG. And we have been from our side putting a lot of pressure for the recruitment of principals or vice principals of teachers, but unfortunately that has not been within our area of control. So as you know, we have gone back to the Supreme Court on this. So as soon as this issue gets resolved, it's definitely a high priority for us.
All right, Atishi, and more power to you, more power to the initiatives that you've been leading, especially in the Aam Aadmi Party government. And on that note, thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Well, that brings an end of the show. Hope you like the show as much as we did putting it together for you. Do share your feedback with us on what you'd like to watch.
You're watching India Ahead.
Ahead extends its helping hand to those affected, brings you the ground report as flood-ravaged Kerala limps back to normalcy. Even as UAE comes forward to clarify it had offered no aid to Kerala, Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan continues to stand by his word, says the Crown Prince had indeed made an offer to Prime Minister Modi on phone. Meanwhile, UAE carrier early poll suspense for Telangana continues as the Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao rushes to Delhi. Speculations are rife that he may seek Prime Minister Modi's help to ensure early elections in December if the assembly is dissolved next month. With an eye on forthcoming legislative assembly polls, Telangana state government announces a slew of SOPs to various sections of society. Free electricity limit for scheduled castes increased. Imams and priests to get more benefits. And Donald Trump cancels his top diplomat Mike Pompeo's visit to North Korea while taking a swipe at China over efforts to disarm the nuclear state. On to our news in detail now. As the talk about early polls to the Legislative Assembly is gaining momentum, Telangana state government has announced a spree of SOPs to various sections of society. Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao announced a significant hike in the remuneration being paid to imams and mozams working in different masjids, as well as archakas performing temple duties will be paid from Treasury on par with the government employees from the 1st of September. Now, the Chief Minister signed the file paving the way for enhancement of salaries of different cadre of employees in mini Gurukulams as well. And the announcement comes ahead of the Chief Minister's three-day visit to the national capital to secure the centre's clearance for the proposed zonal systems as well as release of pending dues. The imams and mozams will be paid monthly remuneration of 5,000 rupees from next month, much higher than 1,500 a month being paid at the moment. The move, claimed to be the first of its kind in the century, would benefit close to 9th instructed to take steps to release orders after preparing the necessary guidelines by Monday.
मीटिंग के अंदर जो है 2 सितंबर को बहुत बड़ी मीटिंग ली जा रही है जो महेश्वरम कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में जो हैदराबाद के पड़ोस में शमशाबाद के बाजू सीएम साहब ने वहां पर 25 लाखों को जमा होने के लिए कहा है। तमाम एमएलएस और एमपीस और जितने हमारे एमएलसी से पार्टी के लीडर्स हैं
21,000 rupees in place of 5,000 rupees, and that of contract residential teachers would be 3,500 to 10,000 rupees. The salaries of cooks, ayahs, helpers, sweepers and watchmen have also been enhanced to 7,500 rupees from the existing 2,500 rupees, while it has been increased from 4,000 to 9,000 for ANMs. Now, in addition, the government had decided to increase the ceiling of a free power supply to SC/ST households from 50 units to 101 units a month. Now, Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao rushed to Delhi on evening after the Chief Minister of Telangana is in Delhi. He, of course, has gone there with an agenda. But what is his schedule really like for the day today?
Shruti, what we are hearing right now is that the 11:30 meeting with the Home Minister stands cancelled, and the only meeting that is scheduled for the Chief Minister today is at 4:10 p.m. in the evening at 7 Lokalyan Marg, where the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister will be meeting and discussing various issues. The main two issues remains early polls, as well as the second one being the zonal system of Telangana, which the Telangana government reorganized around 3 months ago in the last week of May, and now it awaits a presidential consent, which only happens after the centre approves it. So we'll have to wait and see the outcome of the meeting. But what we are gathering from our sources, the central government is also very keen to agree to the new zonal system that the TRS government in Telangana has approved with 7 zones and 2 multi-zones.
Now, the Chief Minister does want the Prime Minister to take personal initiative to see that the centre really gives clearance to this zonal system immediately. If I could go across to Sakshi for more on this. Sakshi, how important really is it for KCR to make sure that the zonal systems is implemented immediately?
Oh, well, it has been quite interesting to see with all the pre-poll buzz going around in the state. Telangana really coming out and saying is that there are a whole lot of demands and the unfulfilled promises of the centre. There are a lot of pending issues, like you mentioned, the zonal issue. Then there is a reservation for the minorities, and there are a whole lot of issues that they want to discuss. But with the pre-poll buzz really going on, that is what is we need to eye on. That is the key agenda that probably the Chief Minister of Telangana wants to discuss with various stakeholders in Delhi also. Now, yesterday what the meeting was conducted by the Chief Minister, where all the top party leaders and the cadres were there. It was discussed, and what we are being told by the party insiders and top senior party leaders that everyone has left the final decision to the Chief Minister. Now, we already know that the Chief Minister of Telangana is Very much interested. The Minister has various reasons to go for early polls, primarily being his national ambitions. If he goes for early polls with other state assembly elections which are scheduled end of this year, like Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan, so along with that he wants the elections to be scheduled so that when the general elections happen, he can actually focus on the general elections and take forward the national political agenda that we are seeing that KCR has been talking about. Now, secondly, also a whole lot of SOPs are being introduced by the Chief Minister. Now, yesterday, as we are mentioning, there has been a long list. Now, that is a key signal. Can we read it as a signal that KCR will go for early polls? Now, that is a big question. Announcement of polls and then rushing to Delhi. So, clear signals coming that KCR may go for early polls, but we have to wait and watch till he is in Delhi.
Now, speculations, of course, have been rife for quite some time because remember, Rishabh, the Telangana Chief Minister had also, he was one of the first leaders to go out and support the idea of one nation, one poll. So, as far as this agenda is concerned, it has been in place for quite some time because time and again, the Chief Minister also pointed out that they are ready to face the elections at any given point of time. And while the Chief Minister really conducted a marathon of meetings back in the state, it was a crucial meeting that also happened in Delhi, round about the same time when the Chief Advisor Rajiv Sharma had gone to meet the Election Commissioner of India in Delhi. So that further really gives speculations about the possibilities that KCR is trying to weigh in.
Shruti, if you see, yes, things are actually moving toward a snap poll in Telangana. Sources suggest that the Chief Minister and other leaders of TRS are in favor of the early polls in Telangana, and they are actually eyeing to conduct the state polls, the Vidhan Sabha polls, legislative assembly polls, along with Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, which are scheduled in December. For that, yes, the 90-day of model code of conduct, which generally is the norm. So definitely by next month, late of September, we might have a clear picture of when exactly the Telangana polls will happen. But yes, today's meeting this evening between the Chief Minister and the Prime Minister is key, and we are actually keenly looking into the whole meeting and are waiting for the outcome of the meeting. Whatever the outcome of the meeting will be very important going forward, be it the snap polls or even if the elections are held as scheduled. It depends on the outcome of the meeting that happens today at 4:10 p.m. at the Prime Minister's residence.
Absolutely. So that meeting, we are being told at the moment, is scheduled for 4. But Sakshi, really what happened yesterday does shed some light on, the Telangana Chief Minister trying to make that one last attempt. If at all the state does go in for early polls, you were talking about how he released a slew of SOPs. Now, remember, in the past few months, his focus has been the agricultural, the farming community, because he did release a lot of welfare schemes. He was also banking on, the trends, the trends that were going on as far as the monsoon is concerned. He wanted to bank on the happiness of the farmers primarily as well to go in for early polls. But when we talk about the slew of SOPs that he did release yesterday, he's targeting, the public at large. You have imams, you have mozams, you have priests of temples. So he's trying to reach out to a larger audience here, clearly.
Well, absolutely right, and that's the kind of every voter he's trying to target. In fact, farmers are one of the key voters here. So we have seen a lot of schemes being launched which are farmer friendly in the recent times. The Raitu Bandhu, which has gone deep into the roots where they're getting compensation for their crops, the farmer insurance schemes, and yesterday also a lot of schemes have been introduced which are also targeting various castes also in Telangana. So there has been a feel-good factor in the state, citing all the kind of schemes that the Chief Minister has been launching. So clearly we are seeing that the Chief Minister's target is to take full advantage of all the schemes that he is launching, and that is kind of giving us rise to a lot of speculations that why suddenly a lot of schemes are being launched and hinting towards Chief Minister's agenda of probably going for early polls. Now, one of the second very important reasons is also the opposition aligning together, we are going to see a fight of
Right.
KCR
Sakshi,
versus
just hold your
all.
thoughts for a minute. We have Mr. Bhanu Prasad from the TRS joining us on the phone line. Mr. Bhanu, if you can hear me, the Chief Minister is in Delhi. We did see a marathon of meetings that was scheduled over the last 2 days. Is there a possibility, of course, a lot has been debated amongst yourselves, but is there a possibility that Telangana does go in for early polls? Is that what the main agenda of the Chief Minister is as far as his meeting with Prime Minister is concerned?
No. The main agenda of Chief Minister meeting Prime Minister is regarding the zonal system. One is the main one is the zonal system. The presidential order we are waiting for, and the file is pending in the PMO. So regarding that, that is the primary factor, and there are other issues which are related to the state which are pending in the PMO. All those issues we are going to discuss. As far as the early elections are concerned, unless we take a decision, there's no point in discussing with Prime or any other person.
But what do you really have to say about the slew of sobs that were released yesterday? I mean, is it like a last, effort from the government side to really get voters in case, there is a possibility of early elections? Is it like a last-ditch, last attempt that is being made by the TRS government?
No, actually, we are giving these soaps since long time, and we are getting a lot of inquiries and a lot of requests from various communities. Like some of the communities which have been allotted lands, like SCs and SCs and Christians, and there are many Reddis and many other castes have been already allotted land and money also. So there are certain castes and certain regions which we have not yet announced any, we have not yet allotted any land or any such. So we are getting requests from the community. So we have decided to give for each and every community whoever needs their bhavan, their accommodation in Hyderabad. So it was for each and every community. It's not for only one community, or it's not for particular community. It was given to each and every community in the state. So that question of soaps or nothing will arise, because in each community there are people from Congress party, there are people from KRS party, people from Communist party. So that doesn't mean that if we give particular facilities to a community, all those people will be attracted by us or anything as such.
But Mr. Bhanu, when there were a series of meetings going on in Hyderabad, there was a very crucial meeting that did take place in Delhi. Now, we are being told that the chief advisor, Mr. Rajiv Sharma, happened to meet the Election Commissioner of India on Thursday. Was that not related to early polls?
No, actually, we have the right to meet the Election Chief Commissioner as a government or as a party. We have the right to meet Chief Commissioner. It's not that we don't have right to meet him. We can meet any.
No, of course, Mr. Bhanu, you do have the right to meet, but given the speculation surrounding early polls, I mean, the timing really comes under scrutiny.
If we take some decision, if the party takes some decision, we may need certain clarification from the Election Commission. We may need certain clarification from certain officers. So, as a party, as a government, we may take clarification from anybody at any point of time, unless until as a party we have not taken any decision. And even when we do some decision, we will definitely inform you, and we will definitely inform the people of Telangana and people of India also.
Now, we are also being told that the Chief Minister also happened to meet Governor ESL Narasimhan at the Raj Bhavan after the Governor returned from Vijayawada, and we are also being told that the Chief Minister, briefed the Governor about his intentions to advance elections and hold an assembly session in September regarding the same as well.
Actually, I am travelling and there is some communication gap. Actually, there is some interruption actually.
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello?
Mr. Bhanu, if you can hear me. All right, looks like that line got disconnected. But Rishabh, there you clearly heard how tight-lipped TRS really is at the moment when you talk about early polls, or even if you really talk about this meeting that's scheduled for today. They are clearly stressing that it has nothing to do with early polls, that the Chief Minister has only gone there to really press his agenda for zonal system and the other issues. But it has to be noted here that this is the third meeting, in fact, of the Chief Minister with the Prime Minister. This also, apart from, the entire agenda that the Chief Minister has really gone to Delhi with, Rishabh, it does also indicate at a possible, developing relationship between the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister.
Shruti, one thing is clear, TRS is not opening their cards as of now. They are still waiting for a final announcement by the Chief Minister only. No other leader is even talking about any kind of poll, be it the early poll or be it a scheduled poll. Everyone is tight-lipped. But here in Delhi, what we are hearing is that the central government is completely with TRS government, the Telangana government, on the so obviously when we talk about the developing relationship between TRS and BJP, we have seen that in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha itself. We have seen how during the no confidence motion, TRS walked out before the voting, actually abstained from the voting, and during the RS Deputy Chief Chair elections, TRS openly voted for the NDA candidate, and how Prime Minister in his reply to the no confidence debate actually praised the work done by TRS government in Telangana. So definitely the bohemy between TRS and BJP is increasing, and also given the numbers that these parties have, TRS right now has around 17 seats from Telangana, and which actually fills in the seats which got vacant in the NDA fold after TDP walked out. So for 2019, TRS is being seen as a potential good ally from South by BJP, and hence both center and state government are trying to work in sync to ensure that the seat numbers increases for 2019, which will help both the parties, for BJP to form the government here in New Delhi and for TRS to form the government in Telangana.
Absolutely. In fact, Sakshi, like Rishabh just said, the TRS is unwilling to show its cards right now. But one person, Sakshi, who will be really closely seeing all these developments is Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, because our sources tell that he is planning to take advantage if his Telangana counterpart really goes in for early polls in the state, because he clearly wants to checkmate TRS in some of key constituencies where TDP has a very strong cadre, like Hyderabad.
Well, in fact, there has been very strong indications I would want to mention from Telangana also. There are open meetings taken out and say that they are all equipped and prepared for early polls. So a lot of very strong indications really coming out from the TDP leadership, and also the TDP lower level ministers and cadres and MPs and MLAs. Everyone is talking about early polls here in the state. Now, as far as TDP is concerned, yes, now that is going to be one of the very crucial political party in the state of Telangana. Now, there's a lot of Andhra voters in Telangana which both the TRS and the Congress is trying to eye, and Congress has in fact made open declaration also that they're ready to align with TDP. Now, if Congress and TDP really come into an alliance in Telangana, now that has to be watched out for. So the alliances are really open in the state of Telangana, because the TDP vote bank here is very crucial. In fact, in 2014 also they had 115 seats, and that's a huge number of seats, and that is the vote bank that Congress wants to eye on. Now, regarding the federal front, now TRS and TDP coming together is a little unlikely, because in the federal front that we are seeing, KCR, the Chief Minister of Telangana, has been seen missing from various events, and TDP Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu in various occasions has been seen getting a little close to the Congress party. We saw that two standing together as the HD Kumaraswamy oath-taking ceremony, then also after split with the BJP in Andhra Pradesh.
डेटा कैसे नहीं चाहिए बेटा? गूगल मैप्स तो खोलोगे और उबर कैसे बुलाओगे बेटा? सेल्फी के सामने वाली सेल्फी ट्वीट तो करोगे? कैसे चलेगा ये सब बिना डेटा के? माईफाई के साथ ऑल डिवाइसेस कनेक्टेड और डेटा आपकी पॉकेट में, मतलब आगे आप पीछे डेटा बेटा तो चाहिए बेटा. Matrix, कुछ तो बात है इनमें.
India, fasting, feasting, flavors and full tables.
A food show that comes to you straight from the city of the Nizams.
The land of fire and spice.
Really good.
An American style with a desi tadka.
Deadly delicious nitrogen ice cream.
From bamboo biryani to noodle samosas.
Exotic bamboo biryani.
Kebabs and the local Hyderabadi cuisines. This is all about bubble waffles.
From Satvik monsoon to super cool pub grub.
The finest of cuisines from around the country.
India's food festival begins every Saturday afternoon at 1:30. Only on Mealstone.
हाय, मैं हूँ तापसी पन्नू और आप देख रहे हैं इंडिया अहेड.
They promise to disrupt yesterday's status quo. They look to provide solutions where others are still asking questions. Bold, sharp, savvy, they dare to dream. But is the startup landscape churning inspiring stories?
Join me, Shruti Mathur, as I try to understand not just what makes India among the world's startup capitals, but also what makes the Deccan the startup capital of India and what really goes into taking India ahead.
Hi, this is Shahid Kapoor and you're watching India Ahead.
In a world that is rapidly changing, we bring you news that directly impacts your world. From bilateral agreements to global power play, India has come a long way. Dissecting facts from fiction, we bring you the bigger picture. Join me, Sana Khan, as I track international news, bringing you perspectives that shape India's world. Only on India Ahead.
You're watching India Ahead.
Welcome back. Slowly and steadily, Kerala is limping back towards normalcy, but rebuilding the state and rebuilding globe. Now, for 54-year-old Raghunath from Chenganur, life was already a struggle, and with limited income as a potter and 4 mouths to feed, it was tough to meet the ends. And post-floods, the family has been left grappling with paucity of funds and an uncertain future.
Right now, we are here in Chenganur, in the Alappuzha district of Kerala. Chenganur is one of the most affected. The situation here in Chenganur is so pathetic. The place where I am standing right now was a dream of a family. From the visuals, we can understand the intensity of this huge flood. This flood has taken away the home completely. The home of this particular family has completely damaged, and the family still dreams.
ഒന്നും തന്നെ നമുക്ക് സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റുകളോ കുട്ടികളുടെ സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റുകളോ ഒരു സാധനം ഉടുതുണി അല്ലാതെ മറ്റൊന്നും നമുക്ക് എടുക്കാൻ ഉള്ള സമയം സാവകാശം നമുക്ക് കിട്ടിയില്ല. അതുപോലെ വെള്ളം കിളരുമായിരുന്നു, പെട്ടെന്നായിരുന്നു കിളന്നത്. അപ്പം നമ്മൾ കൂടി അടുത്തുള്ള ഒരു വീട്ടില് അഭയം തേടി. അവിടുന്ന് ഇതൊരു കോളനിയാണ്, ഈ കോളനിയിലെ എല്ലാ ആൾക്കാരും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. എല്ലാവരും കൂടി ആ വീടിന്റെ ടെറസിന്റെ മേളിൽ ഷീറ്റൊക്കെ ഉള്ളത് കൊണ്ട് പിന്നെ നനയാതെ രക്ഷപ്പെട്ടു. പക്ഷേ പട്ടിണിയായിരുന്നു. നമുക്ക് കഞ്ഞി വെക്കാനോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് പ്രാഥമിക കൃത്യം നടത്തുവാനോ ഒന്നും തന്നെ 2 രാത്രിയും 2 അവിടെ ഞങ്ങൾ ഇന്ന് പലരെയും ബോട്ടുകാരൊക്കെ വരുന്നുണ്ട്, രക്ഷപ്പെടുത്താനൊക്കെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ അവരെല്ലാം അവർക്ക് ഒന്നും ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റാത്ത രീതിയിലെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഭയങ്കര ഒഴുക്കുമായിരുന്നു. ഒഴുക്കെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആ ബോട്ടുകൾ വരാൻ പറ്റാത്ത ഒഴുക്കുകളായിരുന്നു. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇവിടെ ഒത്തിരി കുട്ടികളുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, നമുക്ക് ചെറുപ്പക്കാരായിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാരൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അവരുടെ സഹായം കൂടി ആണ് ഈ ബോട്ട് ഇവിടെ ആ കലിങ്ങിന്റെ അവിടെ നിന്ന് ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വരാൻ തന്നെ പറ്റിയത്.
വീടിനുണ്ടായിരുന്ന സാധനങ്ങളെല്ലാം തന്നെ
വീട്ടിലുണ്ടായിരുന്ന സാധനങ്ങളൊന്നും നമുക്ക് എല്ലാം നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഒന്നും നമുക്ക് എടുക്കാൻ പോലും പറ്റാത്ത രീതിയിൽ നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. കാരണം വീട് തകർന്നു പോയത് കൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് ഒന്നും എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല. അതിനി എങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന് ഒരു രൂപമില്ല. സാധനങ്ങളും മറ്റ് എല്ലാ സാധനങ്ങളും.
What he's saying that he lost everything. He lost everything which he have, and the house was also completely damaged. He have no idea about his future, and still they are continuing in the relief camps. And his daughter is also have taken all the dreams of this particular family, and they have no idea about their future, and still they are continuing.
Go down to stock grains by the state government, and now that the waters have receded, the compound has become a breeding ground for insects and diseases. Here is her full story.
Priya, who is in her 30s, a married woman, is a resident of Arunamulla in Patanathitta. Priya owns an auditorium which has become a potential health hazard, and she can't do anything about it. She explains to India Ahead how her auditorium has become a breeding ground for insects and the spread of disease.
Talk kiya tha without our permission. The manager did not take a permission, and he just started stocking stuff. And but it was a disaster time, so it's okay, But then we allowed, and he went ahead and stocked all these. And you can see after the water has gone down, nobody has cleaned this, and I'm struggling here, calling so many collectors and all the big people over in this area just to clear my